to this week's. Today I have with me the usual partner in crime, Hux. Say hi to the people.
Hello everyone, how's it going? Super nice to be back on yet another exciting episode of our community calls. Can't wait to talk to you all about the testing workshop stuff.
Yes, likewise, we can't wait to hear from you, Hux. And of course, I also have with me Super Maya from Tupinem Quinn. Is that how I pronounce it?
That's pretty good. It's Tupinin King, but
Kim.
just
Okay.
the last part, but it was pretty close. Nice. Hi
Nailed
guys.
it. Hey, what's up? Recurring guest on these community calls. Are you the lead of the squad, or what's your position within? Tell us.
We don't really have a hierarchy, but you could say I appear more, but we don't really have a hierarchy.
I love that response. All right, so
yeah, but you also helped with many other squads formation, right, Super Maya? So you also facilitated some other squads to pop up.
Yes, I facilitated another squad in Brazil to pop up, which is called Prism as well. So I'm very active with both those squads.
Amazing. All right, so this community call, as you probably know from the announcement, is dedicated to testing, and some info about how you can test this early release of Nym VPN. I can already see some familiar names in the chat. Hello, everyone. It's nice of you to join us on this beautiful Friday afternoon or morning, whatever it may be in your region. Before we get started on all the testing mumbo jumbo, though, as usual, we're going to be going through the news roundup for the past few weeks. Well, the first news item is that as of next week, the community calls will be moving back to a weekly cadence because I just can't have enough of you guys. So we're going to be having weekly community calls once again. Hopefully, you guys are happy about that. And also, we revised this strategy of having these calls on Friday when, it's Friday. It's the end of the week. Probably people have better stuff to do than sit through a Nym community call. So we're going to be moving them to Thursday. So the next community call will be happening on Thursday and already next week rather than waiting for another week. So hopefully you guys are happy about that. Now, the next piece of news is, of course, which you probably already saw, the first round of grants from the Nym Innovation Fund have gone out, or at least the winners have been announced. Congratulations to all of them. A bit of a reminder on what the Nym Innovation Fund is. Basically, you can apply for funds from the Nym Innovation Fund to develop projects that will then end up being part of the Nym ecosystem, making use of the Nym Mixnet, or maybe building on the Nym tooling that exists. One of our winners was Starshell, which is an open source privacy first wallet built for the Cosmos ecosystem, and their grant is for Mixnet integration or into their wallet. Congratulations to them. The other winner was Nodis DLB, which is a managed infrastructure provider for both centralized and decentralized RPC nodes, and their grant is for privacy enhanced RPC networks via the Mixnet, which sounds really exciting. So congratulations to them as well. And of course, hopefully the next winner needs no introduction. No Trust Verify, if I can speak, are community OGs who have been really active in the Nym community and have brought you everything from node monitoring tools to really high quality mixed nodes, and also PaceNym also received the grant to further develop PaceNym, which is a privacy preserving mixnet based alternative to Pacebin. Congratulations to you guys as well. Now, moving on to the next piece of news, which is a bit above my head. So the Nym Rust SDK just got an update with some kind of what's it called? All right, maybe you guys can help me out with this, with the C++ integration into the Rust SDK. My brain is very small and very smooth when it comes to this topic, so please help me out.
As I understand it, I read the blog post. It's kind of a communication layer, so you can use the Rust SDK through C and C++ programs. So if you're programming in C, C++, which a lot of stuff is, like basically almost everything is built up on top of C and C++, you can then from C and C++ call some functionality from the Rust programming, from the Rust SDK. So exactly. Yeah.
Maybe we should bring you on as a regular co-host to handle all of the technical kind of news. Thanks for that. Thanks for that explainer.
Be careful if you sound smarter than sudo Super Mario, because you end up here on the community call forever.
Exactly. That's how Hux also ended up here, and he just can't get rid of us anymore. All right, next piece of news is Cefu, which is the custodian of Binance. It now supports the Nym token, which hopefully opens the door to the adoption of the Nym token to the more regulated financial world. So that's a really good piece of news. By the way, I forgot to mention that links to everything that I'm mentioning, the blog posts and everything else that I'm mentioning, are shared in the chat. So if you're interested in further reading, then make sure to check out the blog post.
Yeah, just maybe one comment on Cefu, because we had some questions related to this piece of news from community members. It's more important for institutional investors, right? So it's not for retail investors. It's for the big guys who seek absolute security and the really trustworthy custodian with their funds. And it's a piece of news related to them or their.
Exactly. But we welcome all the institutions in our community. Hopefully everybody, all the representatives are also attending this community call. Hi there, everyone. Hopefully you're having fun using Cefu. Moving on to the next piece of news, which is going to be a Twitter space. I think this one is shaping up to be very interesting. So we're going to have Alexander Kubiak from the privacy-centric search engine Start Page on as a guest on a Twitter space. It's going to be next Monday, which is the 12th of February at 5 p.m. UTC. So make sure to listen in. And also, I would recommend everybody checking out their Twitter, because it's really fun. They have a bunch of really cool memes there, which are privacy related. So I had a lot of fun thumbing through their Twitter, preparing for this call. The next news item is something that you already saw me sharing a PSA about in Telegram. If you keep an eye on that chat, Nym Swapper is delayed. Now, actually, we also created a sneak peek with Hux to go along with this announcement, but I was responsible for blurring the video, and Hux was scrolling around so much that it was impossible to blur the right details. So maybe Hux, since you ruined that thoroughly, do you want to go through what exactly happened and what people can expect when it comes to Nym Swapper?
Yeah, sure. So the reason Nym Swapper is delayed is because the security of your tokens are paramount for Nym, and we decided to have a in-depth code audit to be put in place before releasing the Swapper tool for all of you to use. Also, maybe an upside of this, but I'm not making any promises here, but just to put those frowny faces to a smiling one, that the beta release would have initially been a one-way swap from the ERC20 from Ethereum to Nix chain, but now maybe with this delay we can actually launch a beta which supports both-way swaps, making everyone's life easier, swapping there and back between Ethereum and the native Nix chain. So it's like a tiny upside, and bear with us because everything is done in order to ensure your token security in the matter.
Exactly. You probably saw all the solutions, similar solutions getting hacked in the news. I think as a project in this space, your worst nightmare is to be one of those projects in one of those news. So we wanted to make sure that doesn't happen. And of course, we would never play around with the security of your tokens. So we will keep you posted on the development of Nym Swapper, and it will be released once it's ready. And then the next news item is sort of a segue into our conversation today with these two beautiful gentlemen, which is that Nym VPN community testing has begun. So the app is currently in an alpha or pre-alpha stage. I'm not sure. Hux will tell us during the combo, but it's already very important to have some hands-on, have some people with hands-on the app, and then for us to gather feedback and shape the app together. So this is also a pretty cool opportunity for you guys to be involved in the development from this stage. So we thought we would dedicate, since this is one of the big things that are happening this quarter for the community, we wanted to make sure to give you all the info that we currently have and to basically explain how the process goes. Before we go into that conversation, though, please read the blog post that we shared about testing if you're interested, and stay tuned because we're going to be talking about just that. But also, as always, we're keeping a close eye on the chats, both the Twitch chat and also the YouTube chat, and also the general channel of the Nym Matrix server. So if you have any questions for us at any point, make sure to drop it here, and then we're going to be answering. All right, so with all of that said, let's move into that conversation. Hux, what do you have for us?
Yeah, maybe even going into the conversation, let's just summarize one more time for everyone's sake, who maybe first time joining us on this community call. Why is the Nym VPN so important, and what does it mean for the whole network? So the mixnet is up and running, decentralized network of mix nodes. It's doing its job. So now it's time to put it to a test and actually try to enable anyone to access the utility of the mixnet, which is metadata resistance, via developing the Nym VPN. So the Nym VPN will be a commercially available, easy to use tool for everyone to use the advantages of the mixnet. And why it's also super important for us inside the Nym community is because it's basically going to be an engine that's going to support the demand side of the Nym tokenomics, because all Nym VPN subscribers, we're going to be purchasing their subscriptions. That's going to be translated or transferred into Nym tokens. So basically, it's going to supply a constant demand for the Nym tokens, the users of Nym VPN throughout the months to come. So that's why we're focusing on testing the alpha version with you this much, and that's why it's our sole focus together as a community to figure out how do we make the best actual release from where we are at now. And what you can do currently, or what avenues of testing is happening right now, is so as Suda, you mentioned, let's call it alpha testing, because let's not go pre-alpha, post-alpha, because that's gonna
Agreed. Okay, that's a good point.
A bit. So let's just
let's not torture our community with that kind of mumbo jumbo.
This is alpha testing stage, which means that we're actually looking for people who are at least a little bit comfortable with handling command line tools, right? So this is not for the faint-hearted. It doesn't mean that there's going to be lots of other opportunities to have with the sort of more graphic user face testing, or more the click endpoint. Like, I'm also more that kind of a tester. I like to click at buttons, and it's not working, it's working. So this is not that stage yet, but even more so, we are making a call out for all the technically advanced and hardcore command line users in our community. This is a time where you can really truly help us with the actual alpha testing of the product. And I think that this is a rare opportunity to support the development of a very important mass market product from its baby steps. So now there's lots of analytics to be done, there's lots of different things to hash out, and to support this, there's two testing streams, maybe, or different ways that you can participate.
Don't allow me to lead you to the answers by my beautiful, very well formulated questions, but just go ahead, Hux. Take it all away. It's fine.
Yeah. So, do you want to ask Sudo how might people help us in testing?
So, Hux, you're saying that there's some testing activity ongoing and the community can get involved. What ways can the community get involved in?
Yeah, currently there's two different. Thanks for the question. Great question, by the way. Currently there's two ways to get involved with testing the Nym VPN. Hey guys, welcome. Who's joining just now in the chat? One way, I'm going to be conducting one-on-one interviews on a video call with anyone who signs up on the link that I've shared in the beta testing channel, or that we shared across socials. So if you have a friend or a friend of a friend who'd be interested, who knows a bit about Nym and who's technically advanced enough, with command line tools, make sure to send this link to them. It's the right time now is to have. And don't forget, so there's really frequent releases, alpha releases happening. So this doesn't mean that now you test once and then you had all you could, but it's a longer process or journey that we embark now together on, where you constantly can help with every new release to retest and retest on your operating system, and help us find the bugs or help us find the way forward for a fine-tuned final product or released product. So in that sense, just to answer the question very simply, whoever has an hour and has sufficient command line skills and want to really help, please make sure to sign up with the interview with me. And the other avenue, which is even more exciting, and that's why I'm super happy to have Super Maya with us here today, is that the community testing workshops have been already started to get rolled out, and will be even more of these workshops in the future, where squads and community members can organize different workshops, in real life workshops or online workshops in their locations, where they can basically reproduce the same testing process what I'm doing one-on-one on online interviews. So if that's, maybe you don't want to speak with me that much, but maybe you have a active squad in your region, or maybe you want to mount even a community testing workshop, that's something totally possible. Reach out to us or check where the latest workshop's going to be. And I'm really curious, because to be honest, I've spent like a better part of the day trying to test myself different versions of the application. So I'm not that advanced with command line tools, but I'm fairly comfortable. But it took me a while, so it was a bit more challenging than I expected at this stage. And I just want to ask you, Supermail, that how was your first workshop experience? How did you solve the challenges, and what was it like to be one of the firsts who ever host a workshop where people can test the VPN?
Nice, thanks. Yeah, I had some difficulties as well installing for the first time. I did not expect to meet some of them, but it was maybe probably more on my side of the fault was probably more on my side. I didn't pay too much attention to the docs. So first tip, pay very close attention to the docs. Don't miss any little command inputs over there. But yeah, regarding the workshops, so I hosted a workshop, an online workshop in Telegram with the Portuguese Nym community. And yeah, it was a nice experience. Unfortunately, we couldn't really get people to test because of some issues that I'm gonna outline and maybe give out hints so that people who try to do it in the future can go a different way or not fall into the same traps. So yeah, but we tried to organize an online workshop. So me and another friend of mine, Victor from the Tupiniquim squad, I was gonna conduct the Linux installation. He was gonna conduct the macOS installation. But the problem we ran into is that people were not technical enough and didn't have computers to participate on the workshop. So that was the first big issue. So if you're going to do a workshop, like it's primordial that you find the right public. So on your communications and stuff like that, try to really emphasize that people need to have some knowledge of CLI tools, like typing in commands, not be afraid of the terminal and things like that, and they can move their way around a bit. And it would be nice, really great for you to have some experience on that too. So maybe if they get some problems when trying to install or run the VPN, you can help them troubleshoot it. Uh, but yeah, that's one issue. The other one is Windows. So try to really emphasize that it's only Linux and macOS. No, majority of users end up on Windows, but right as of now, the alpha only works on Linux and macOS. So be clear in your communication with that as well. One nice thing that I can say about my workshop as experience is that if you want to do an online workshop, there's the problem of turning on the VPN and losing your connection. I did it on a virtual machine and it worked perfectly. So if you're trying to do online workshops, you can maybe install Ubuntu on a virtual machine, and then you can share your screen and give out the workshop, show the VPN really working, all from within your virtual machine while sharing your screen from your real machine. So you don't lose connection. You can show people the VPN really working, and it did great for us. Yeah, besides that, so some of the issues I outlined were the public maybe was not ready for the workshop and stuff. So with that in mind, we're going to try to do a second workshop, maybe a third. Who knows? The more the better, I guess. But yeah, so right now we're gonna try to do it in person. Noise, who isn't here, he did a workshop in person in Latam. I don't know exactly where, but I've seen some pictures. It looked really nice. Like they had the Dawariva squad in a room full of people with notebooks, and they all tested the Nym VPN. It's great. So we're gonna try to make something similar work here in Brazil. So the approach we're taking is we establish a contact with a person inside a university, and we're going to try to bring the workshop to the university. So get with cybersecurity or computer science students who are interested in privacy, and then present them Nym and things like that, and then proceed to do a workshop. So hopefully we can, this next time will be successful and we can get some great feedback from the community.
So let's just, can I just synthesize a ground rule, like what you said, it follow the docs because the docs are great. right?
Yes.
That's for sure ground rule. 2, be prepared for unexpected obstacles, as this is a testing process. But also, why we're having this community call now, and why am I super happy to chat about this? If you're testing and have any kind of experiences, even with the testing process itself, or the documents, or this is the right time, to help us make better documentation, to help us create better workshop guides. If you have any input on any of these parts of the process of testing the Nym VPN, and I'm like, this is extremely interesting. This is a truly, co-design working when a company puts out a very early product to the biggest followers or the most prominent advocates to let people sort of test it together from such an early phase. I think this is a truly great opportunity to achieve our goals. There was no question. Should I ask a question? Okay, like so how will you approach the second workshop different that you mentioned that you're going to be doing? So who do you advertise it to? How do you make sure that whatever is needed for the workshop to be in place, it's in place, and you communicate in advance? If you can share some infos about that.
Yeah. So the last point you touched, like communicating in advance, was also one of the issues of our last workshop. So we had a communication I think we published it like a week prior, but then we had some issues and we had to postpone the workshop. So when we did it, when we got the second date around, it was like too on top, like too close to the date. So people couldn't prepare for it or couldn't be present like readily. Sorry, I got distracted by the comment. Thank you, decentralized guru.
I have to agree.
Yeah, the lighting is really nice. It's really hot as well. Like it's 40 degrees here in Rio, so I look good, but I'm melting. uh, so yeah, that's one of the things. So like maybe get like as much of a leeway as possible. Like try to tell it as soon as possible. Like really organize it and communicate to the right target audience. So we got some developers show up, but the developers who showed up were maybe on their cell phones or they had Windows machines. They were not prepared. So like I said, like try to be specific about the needs for the workshop, like what you need to bring, what you need to be prepared for. And so those are the two main points that we're going to be focusing on. So we have two fronts that we're going to try to approach. This one in the college front, we already have like the core people who we're trying to reach. So people who are familiar with computers and cybersecurity. So we just need to entice their curiosity and present them to them so they like want to participate and want to engage with this. So we're thinking of maybe doing a lecture or something like that to present Nym before the workshop. So maybe we can go in a week, present Nym, and then those who are interested, we say, hey, we're coming back here next week. If you want to participate, like we're gonna host a nice workshop where you can test this product that we just presented and told you all these wonderful things about it, and you're hella curious. Come check it out, try to test it. So and
Stop commenting funny things, guys, because
Yes,
this is a
we're
serious
being
conversation.
comment bombed. But this is a legitimate question. Okay, let's just address it real quick because we have a drummer now and a singer. Hux is from Green Day. I can't remember the guy's name, but anyways.
Yeah. People say I look like Dave Grohl, so I don't know. But yeah, and the other front I was talking about, so here in Rio we're gonna have ETH Samba, so it's a Ethereum event centered around Carnival, and there's gonna be like side events to that, and there's a side event that one of our squad members from Prism is closely related to, like he's helping it, organize it and stuff like that. So we're maybe seeing there's gonna be like a hacker house space where like people are gonna be there with computers and doing hackathons and similar things. So we're seeing the possibility of maybe bringing a workshop to that hacker house. So, and that's like, I think that's the most promising one in terms of public, because there's probably like 200 plus people there with computers ready to program and stuff like that. So I think we can get like, and already interested in blockchain technology. So those are easy fish to catch. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, go.
Yeah, so in summary, at this stage, it's pretty important to find the right people who are fairly technical, right? So that should probably be part of your workshop strategy, as we can call it. Sorry, Hux, you were about to say something.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask because since we always forget that most of us here in the community know already about what the Nym Mixnet is, why we think it's super cool, and why the Nym VPN is going to be the best VPN, the best privacy enhancing tool ever. But so Superman, how would you pitch this to, a new hacker house? You walk in the door, you know one guy, but you have to sort of sell it. So can you just share us your selling pitch for Nym if you want to make it sound super exciting for other people too?
All right. So I think Nym in itself, it's kind of hard to understand, but once people get a glimpse, like you can see that it's really something different and there's not been done before, and people grasp to it because like people, it may not show, but like most people are tired of like this vigilance or this surveillance, this mass surveillance. So what I usually do when I try to sell Nym to other people, I usually start presenting the problem of surveillance, and that's something people can easily relate to. So you start talking about like how these big corporations are surveilling, like the problems of censorship and things like that. And then you ease into the current solutions and you say like, you can try to protect yourself from things like that as of now, but it really like it's not that effective. So you can talk like what are the problems with the VPNs, like what are the problems with Tor and how they don't protect really metadata. And that's another thing to explain nicely as well, like what is metadata, because people usually have not heard of that word before and don't really know what it is. So you go from that route, and then when you present the problem and people are aware, like, oh damn, like this surveillance is really going on, there's this metadata which I can't get rid of, like what can we do? And then you start presenting them, and then you go over the mixnet, what is the mixnet, how it works, how it protects your metadata. And then people who are tech are like usually easily sold, and my experience with people who are not really tech savvy, they may not grasp like how it really works, but they see the importance and they're eager to know more and try to understand more. So I think if you've never tried to not sell Nym, but like present Nym in a positive way before, you might surprise yourself on how not how easy, but like how easygoing it is, like how easily people accept the idea and agree with it and want to know more and contribute. So
I
yeah,
used Sorry,
yeah,
go.
sorry.
I didn't know that there was another part to it. Go.
No, yeah. So my approach would be that like first start by presenting them and things like that, because if you probably come around an event with a bunch of people, especially people interested in cybersecurity, and come install this new program on your machine and run it with sudo, so people are gonna like, nah, thanks. Like, I don't want to take that risk. But if you present and you tell like, what is the company? It's been doing things for a long time. We have these people backing it. Like, there's a ton of research going into it. We're going to launch a product this year, and we need help to test it out, see how it works. People who identify with it and identify the problem and want to help out, they'll be readily ready to contribute.
Yeah. I used to also explain it from the like starting from surveillance. I think that's a hit or miss because it's an interesting realization that a lot of people don't really care about that. It's not a tangible problem for most people, especially here in the West. We're pretty privileged to be like, we are surveilled, but there are not a lot of real life consequences yet to that kind of stuff. So I increasingly find myself doing this instead, picking this angle. Thanks for the comment, Nuku. Basically, I usually just start from VPNs. It's been ingrained through VPN sponsorships into our brains in like podcasts and everything. VPNs are necessary and all of that. And if you start from there, if you explain that, yeah, have you heard about these things called VPNs? And here's a list of like very real issues with theoretically with most of them, or in the possibility space with all of them, and then in actuality probably most of them. The fact that it's not trustless, you're trusting the VPN provider to not give out your data, all of that stuff. Anyways, I just wanted to wanted to share my thoughts.
Yeah, maybe just a thought on that. That it's there's one scenario where you don't need to trust your VPN provider when the VPN provider doesn't have any information about you if you're using the VPN. And not to spoil, but Nym VPN might going to be this solution where there's absolutely nothing to share with anyone who's inquiring, which makes it, like, again, a really private solution, another angle to this discussion. There's a cool question. So do you see from
Yes.
Rocio?
Hey, Rocio, always good to see you, by the way. Awesome to see you join us.
Yes, I just read it up. So what tools, like what is my IP address, do you recommend using in workshops to demonstrate what Nym VPN does? And that's a very, very good question. And what is my IP address would be one that came to mind, but maybe Super Mario, you have something, other tools on your mind that you can share with the audience?
Yeah, so on the forums, you're gonna be asked, like, as a demonstration, you can use like more visual tools. So when I was demonstrating the VPN, one of the tools I used was Guerrilla Mail. So I created 2 fake emails and sent one email from another fake email so people can see like the communication really happening in a visual way. As for testing the robustness of the VPN 2, I don't know the tool name like off the top of my head, but I've seen it in the NymVPN chat on Matrix that Guts shared I think it was Guts who shared a link to a tool that checks like DNS leaks and stuff like that through your connection. So I'll try to find that and send it here in the chat, but that would be a nice tool as well.
Actually, Salazar, can you please come to the rescue and find this for us?
Also, one other tool that I've been using today on the command line interface is just pinging a website and seeing how the ping works when you switch off the VPN. That's a for sure way to know if it's working or not and if you make the connection or not.
Yes, of course. Also, another basic one is a speed test. So obviously, the NymVPN is not bringing the speeds that it will after launch, but it's still like just good to show that it's it can handle traffic and it has a speed. Looking at community questions, main question. Wait. Oh, when NymVPN? Okay. When NymVPN? Hux.
I mean, the other part of the question, you should read that we waited for Nym VPN for years, which is kind of, I'm not saying it's so it might be a bit overstatement in this case, because I don't think that Nym VPN was announced over a year ago. So you only have waited less than a year. I think the best way to know when the VPN is coming out, if you help us join the testing, and sign up and test as much as possible. And the more we test, the more closer we get to release the actual product. And this is from here on. It's not like someone else is doing something for a group of people. Here's the opportunity to do this together. And how anyone can help is helping in the testing or running test workshops. So it's just as much dependent on our testing community as on everyone else. Let's hope that very soon TM. No, let's just call it soon TM, no?
Soon TM. Another, I think, good question from Bikram. Thanks for the question. Always good to see. Can NymVPN help me to evade Reddit IP ban?
Yeah, I think so. So if you use the VPN, you're gonna get a different IP from a random server around the world. So if your country is banned, just choose a country that isn't, and you should be good to go. So
Yeah, I think so. I
be
think
ready for you.
Yeah, to be fair, I think any VPN could do that. No.
Yes.
Yeah, it's an interesting question, like what people consider censorship resistance in terms of browsing the internet, right? It's kind of a broader topic where you can have very different views on the subject of why something is censorship resistant or is it not. It can be censored in a forum that's not, it's a third-party software, it's not so censorship resistant, but it also kind of means that the geo-blocking aspect, that does anyone know that I'm connected and using this tool at all or not? Or can I be tracked or not? And can I be censored or not? So it's kind of, it's a very interesting topic. And I think it's also very culturally different, you know, what we consider censorship resistance, because if we would have a Chinese participant or someone living in China right now, they would have a very different perception of censorship resistance compared to someone coming from Europe or even Latam in this case, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, Superman, but like, is online censorship happening big time over in Latin America, or how is that, or how, what can you tell us as a short market update on censorship?
Yeah, like censorship resistance is not really happening big time as it is in some countries. Like you mentioned, China, like it's very different, or India as well. Like there's a lot of like blockage. Like we have some issues before. Like I don't really know much of other countries. I can speak more of Brazil. But for example, in Brazil, we've had periods where Telegram was banned. So people who use Telegram suddenly were not able to anymore for a couple. I don't remember how much time, like what the time period was, but wasn't really that long, but a considerable time period where you couldn't use Telegram. So it's not really like too extreme, but it's still there and it still can happen, as have been demonstrated before from examples like censorship on Telegram. So it's not that big of a threat as in other places. I mean, it's as big of a threat as in other places, but it's not as active as it is in other places.
Yes.
Sorry, yeah, go. Sorry.
And it looks like, so if you look at the sort of geopolitical backdrop of 2024 in general, we can be pretty sure that it's not getting any less, but it's getting more. I mean, surveillance and censorship is not like going away anytime soon, to say the very least. Sorry, Hux, go ahead.
I just wanted to ask about like the how journalists doing in Brazil. So with maybe with the new president, I'm not really sure what's the actual immediate consequence of the new president that you have over there, but yeah, how
Yeah.
is it a thing?
Well, see, the journalist, the thing is like in Brazil, and that's, I'm gonna speak like a little bit more about Rio now, but we have a thing called militia, which is like kind of a mafia that runs a lot of stuff here. So it's like maybe like certain regions like where people have to vote on this politician and stuff like that. So that's a huge concern, and it's permeated the whole of politics. So we've seen people in high positions who are part of the mafia or really is like closely associated with the mafia. So it's a big issue, and I think that's the biggest issue as of now, because these people like the mafia, they like kind of give everything. So if you live in a region dominated by the mafia, your internet is provided by the mafia, your TV is provided by the mafia, your water, your light, your gas. So they have a huge control. And on the emphasis of like when you talk about internet and TV and means of communication, that's a huge tool for censorship and also submission. So if you lash out or do something like that, like they're, I don't think they're using it yet, but one of my main concerns is that the mafia starts like getting more tech savvy and start using this stuff that they already have at hand to establish even more control over these regions. So yeah, that's one of the big problems. And on a more broader sense, like we've we've come from a history of colonization and a lot of influence from outside countries. So that's another issue as well. So other countries chiming in and stuff from Brazil. So our whole history, we were colonized. So our colonizers were maybe not, were dictating what happened here. And after we got decolonized, it it was like this imperialist influence from the north that it's maybe not as visible and plain as it was in the colonization days, but it's still very vivid and under the rug. So when Snowden leaked, like there were huge programs of influence like here in Brazil as well, with like huge state companies and stuff like that. So that's another big problem as well in question in the issue of surveillance here in Latam. So this big influence from other countries.
Bit of a switch in gears. We have a good question from Nuku, showing it on screen. Is there any software project that allows running NymVPN on a router? Which I think is a really good question. And my understanding is that Rawbox, one of the projects of our dear squads, so one of the Nym community squads that formed during Shipyard, last year's Shipyard, is just about this, and also combining it with running a node as well on your router. So that's how far my technical understanding of this goes. So if you guys know any more about this, maybe Supermay is here to help me out.
Yeah, I don't really know too much about Roblox, so yeah, from my understanding, they're trying to build like specialized hardware so that the dealing of packets can happen in your router in a faster manner, if I'm correct, but don't quote me on that.
Good news, it's happening in one way or the other. But maybe we can have a call sometimes in the future when we can talk about the Roblox status update, and that's like a really interesting topic for me too. So be eager to hear more from the guys over there.
We are going to be bringing squads on for community calls for updates on their project. So thumbs up in the chat if you want to see Rawbox for a bit of an intro of their project and a bit of an update on where they are with it. Then let us know. Maybe we'll prioritize them.
Do you see any other questions in the chat? I'm scrolling too.
I'm actually not sure about this one. So Alexander is asking, by the way, popular VPN providers could use Nym Infra to improve their resistance. What do you think? I'm not sure about this one. Whether
this might be a bit more complicated, but if you change VPN providers to digital service providers, then that's completely true. That's like 120% true. So if anyone's watching this who have a software product which strives for privacy, make sure to look how to integrate Nym with your software solution, because that can supercharge it. With the VPN providers, bit less sure, but I think that's a little bit more complicated. And that's why we're developing our own solution, basically.
Next one is from Matt. Always good to see you, friend. When can we expect NymVPN graphics user interface?
There is already graphic user interface, so that's part of the testing. It's not just command line testing, it's also GUI testing in a sense. So whoever is coming on a session with me or going to one of the testing workshops with maybe Supermay or other squads will get the chance to see the graphic user interface too, which is, by the way, looking amazing.
And it's only going to get better from here. Thanks for the answer. That next one is specifically to you, Supermaya. Supermaya, what is the most challenging thing about trying NymVPN? I guess referring to the testing. Thanks for the question, Rocio, once again.
Nice. So personally, the thing I had the most trouble with was when running the test. So if you follow the procedure and you try to test the Nym VPN, you're gonna receive a script to test the VPN. And the first couple of times when I ran that script, I got a bad gateway or something like that, and I was not able to run the test. So I lost quite a bit of time on that. So I think that was like the biggest hurdle I found. So because it didn't really have that much feedback, but that's nice because like you run into that hurdle, then you get okay, should be more feedback on this, and then you can send it to the team and they can improve. But yeah, I think that was the hardest part. Other than that, see, I don't think I'm the best person to ask this to, like not trying to play myself up, but I'm really comfortable with Linux tools and installing programs and running stuff. So I didn't have that many big issues. I think that was maybe the biggest issue. Otherwise, I think the installation process was really straightforward, and testing as well. Like I didn't have many problems testing anything, but it's nice to test a bunch of things. So like, well, I got this issue with the gateways that I can report, and I got another issue when like trying to load YouTube on a private browsing window. So if I try to load YouTube on a private browsing window, it takes longer time. So what's going on there? Like, is it on the VPN side? Is it on Google side? Like, but yeah, like poke around, try to find stuff that's curious. So there's like, maybe this shouldn't work like this, and report it back to the team. What about you, Hooks? What do you think was the hardest thing when testing the NymVPN?
Maybe I'm just used to comfort by now, and most things are easier to test. I think there was, but the gateway thing came up with me as well, and one because I'm also not super, practiced in all the different command line like hyphens and sub commands. So maybe I was just, I'm really close to something and then just cannot get there because I don't have the knowledge. So maybe that's why we ask experienced people, first and foremost, to come and join us, because this won't happen with them, hopefully, or happen less. By the way, we got an answer for a question we couldn't answer properly. The question was, could other VPNs integrate to the mixnet? And we were a bit unsure, but I got a very confirming answer. Thanks, Jaya, by the way.
I mean, I was not unsure. I was just hesitant to say it because why would they? I mean, like, what, that's like a weird thing for them to use like an other project's network for. But actually, when you think about it, it does make sense.
Yeah, so it is possible for other VPN providers to integrate with the mixnet to improve their privacy with the caveats of the mixnet that we all know. And yeah, who knows, maybe that's going to be a thing, hopefully. Yeah, and there was another question about gateway selection. Can you highlight that? Yes, thanks, Matt, for the question. So it's absolutely possible, yes, to choose your exit gateways, which also going to define, your kind of IP where people see you on the internet. So, but to enable this, we're going to need a lot of gateways to be run by the community members, and especially exit nodes. So this is also one part where we really going to rely on the entire community to support the network and the product to run good quality exit gateways all across the planet.
Exactly. Now the next question, it's already been answered, but I want to, I answered in chat, but I would want to answer this and also tie something else into it as well. Other question from Nuku. Thanks for another great question. Which matrix server is NymVPN room on? So the link to the Nym community matrix server is in the description of the video. I think we put it there for every community call, so make sure to check it there. For some reason in the chat there are some issues sharing that link. Not sure why. And then a bit more generally, so throughout this testing period, you can leave your feedback on any of our channels. We're keeping a close eye on all of them. So whether that be Telegram, any of the regional Telegram channels, if you're not good at English enough, you want to share it in your own language, do that on Telegram, Discord, wherever it may be, whatever's most comfortable for you. But there is a NymVPN room on the Matrix server, which is like the most intense place to discuss NymVPN related stuff. So if you want to share your feedback, or maybe design your own or keep your own workshop, then it's best to go there and discuss it there.
Yeah, and be a bit patient. We're updating all documentation as we speak to make sure that you have the workshop packages super nice and very usable after all these testing workshops, basically, or the initial testing workshops that Supermaya also talked about. Yes. Do we have any other cool questions in the chat? Let's see. Yeah. Maybe a little bit more about just going back to the previous question with the choice of gateways. So as we established that it's absolutely possible, and one of the features that you can choose both entry and exit gateways. But since, again, as I said, it's really going to be dependent on the community to run good quality exit nodes, there might be even something further down the delegation program line where we where Nym might incentivize good exit gateway operators. Is that right, Sudo? What do you know about this?
That is definitely happening. So details about that coming your way very soon. So obviously, we talk a lot about mixed nodes when it comes to the mixed net, but we don't talk that much about gateways. But now that we're testing an actual version of Nym VPN, gateways come to the forefront. They are very important, not only their existence and high performance, but also their proper geospread, so that the VPN performs well from various different regions where it may be under testing. So gateways are very important, have been very important, becoming increasingly more important, and we are going to be incentivizing great gateways in the very near future as part of probably as part of the delegations program. So keep an eye out for that. Now another question. Wait a second, I got a little bit lost. I know I saw a question.
There's at least two. Yeah, there's at least two.
Yes.
One was from Bikram, and I see one from NFT XOX2, which is kind of you can look for the one that Bikram asked, and I can answer, or we answer it with Supermail. This do you get paid to run a node? I'm just gonna ask it from Supermail because you can give like a very honest answer about as you're running a node, right?
Yes, so I've been running a node for some months now, I think 7 or 8 months. And yes, the answer is yes, you do get paid to run a node, but you need delegations to get paid to run a node. So one of the how I got paid to run a node was through the delegations program. So if you're interested in running a node and you think maybe you would need this head start, not head start, but like kickstart, that will help you. Be on the lookout for the delegations program. I think we will have some very nice news like pretty soon for people to be able to maybe apply or reapply. I don't want to give out too much details because it's not set in stone, I'm pretty sure, but yeah, be on the lookout for possibilities to join the delegations program.
Exactly. I don't think it's a big secret. So you heard one of our delegations program mentors summarizing this information. It's no secret that there are going to be, as we always said, with the first iteration and the second iteration, there are going to be further rounds of the delegations program. It's no secret that it is going to happen again. So once it happens. Applications will open. We will be announcing that on all of our channels, of course, and you'll get to apply with your nodes, and all of the details will be shared. Now, in the meantime, I found and lost Bikram's question.
Yeah, I can.
There it is.
Okay.
There it is. So the question is, how many IP addresses can I get using Nym VPN? The short answer is that there are going to be X number of exit gateways that you can terminate your connection from on Nym VPN, and that's your IP address. So basically, that's the gist of it. Each exit gateway has its own IP address, and that can be yours if you're using Nym VPN.
We have a non-VPN question. But I just thought to maybe go back one little bit. Does it make sense to go back for the staking and node operation and how nodes getting paid for running up and running and in good quality? Because I thought that it might not be super trivial for someone who just want to start maybe a node. That it's quite easy to start up a node, but what you have to make sure is that to advertise your node and be present in the community to attract delegations, there's quite a large number of Nym tokens that you want to attract in order to make sure that your node is included in the active set mixing packages. And this is kind of somewhat a socio-economical game theory. So someone who has a good quality node and can attract a good delegation have a higher chance of getting included in the active set and getting rewarded. And on this note, I would really want to, there's this, not sure if we ever talked about this on the community call, but there are some node operators who set their parameters super low with like almost zero profit margin and very low costs, attract lots of delegations, and once they have those delegations and they include in the active set, they just change those parameters into a lot more operating costs, a lot more profit margin. So this is just a shout out to all of you who are delegating your tokens to mixed nodes to go and check back time to time, about those mixed nodes if they're doing what they promise they're going to be doing, or if they're ripping you off by increasing the operational cost or the profit margin. Now, another way to not to fall in these traps is to delegate to mixed nodes who are run by prominent community members such as Supermaya, or anyone who's really appearing with a face and who you can have almost personal trust in, that they're not going to do this with you. So this is the importance of sort of how the delegation works, and how to think about this when you start a new node. Hope that was useful, NFT XOX.
All right, next question. I think this will be probably the last one that we have time for. I think it's a good one, and it's also pointing towards one of my personal favorite features about NymVPN. Questions from Arvind. Thanks for the question. Will NymVPN have the option to use VPN only in specific browsers and not across the entire device? Like use Chrome for browsing YouTube, which doesn't require VPN, but on Brave, I want to use VPN. A very good question. This feature is called split tunneling. Now, in the case of NymVPN, it's even more important than with another VPN, because NymVPN has two modes. One is the two-hop mode, which we call two-hop mode, is the VPN mode, which is for more general purpose browsing, where it may be latency or speed sensitive what you're doing. And then of course there's the mixednet mode, which has the utmost privacy that is possible, basically. So it's cutting edge privacy, but at the cost of some additional latency and probably a bit lower speed. So this will be perfect for something like instant messaging or exchanging emails, which do need a lot of privacy, but nobody's going to die if your DM gets there like a second later, or your email arrives a second later. But when it comes to something that is more latency sensitive, you would want to use the two-hop mode. So as opposed to other VPNs, which usually just have one mode, which is like one tunnel that you're using, here it's even more important. Now, as for the exact time when split tunneling is coming, maybe Jaya can help me out in the chat here, when that is coming. I'm not sure about the exact timing, but be sure that split tunneling will come to NymVPN, and it's going to be one of the most important features that it will ever get.
Yeah, so it's a major focus, but it's going to come later this year, guys, because it's not the easiest trick to solve, but it's definitely something that's going to come really handy when using the NymVPN.
Thanks for the great question.
Yeah, and maybe just drop some more buzzwords. Should we drop some more buzzwords? What are the other main R&D focuses for this year after the initial release? Happy to drop in what I also mentioned, the complete censorship resistance and quantum resistance, which is probably the later is the nicest buzzword, no? Like quantum resistance. Do you know, Sudo, what it stands for, or why people hype it?
Quantum resistance?
Yes.
Yeah, so essentially what's happening right now, guys, is a breakthrough in computing. So quantum computers are becoming increasingly powerful. Right now, all they have is a few qubits, but it goes up like every year by a factor of some. And this, of course, means that at some point, these quantum computers will be able to break all the encryption that we currently have. So the current encryption standards will not be able to withstand attacks from quantum or attacks by quantum computers. So the reason why it's a buzzword, quantum resistance is a buzzword, is because if your tech is quantum resistant, if your blockchain is quantum resistant, that means that even with a quantum computer, it is not possible to crack it. It's not possible to crack it. Basically, that's the idea.
As far as I know, it's even an open question related to regular blockchain protocols like Bitcoin and etc. If whether quantum computers will be theoretically able to crack, the private keys back from the public keys. And I think, as far as I know, it's not yet decided in either way. So the best what we can do is try to aim for quantum resistance and just go ahead and use advanced cryptography protocols that's gonna go, not let this happen, even if quantum computers become on the rise.
Exactly. I think that's all we had time for today. It's exactly 0:00, which means that this day is over. This week is hopefully over for most of you. So do you guys have any closing remarks before we say goodbye to the community?
Well, I wanted to say one last thing. Rocio, I saw Rocio say on the chat that if you recommend that Windows users try VPN on a Linux virtual machine, and I think that's a great solution. So if you maybe know people who want to test it out, but they only have Windows, they don't want to install Linux, a virtual machine would be super easy to set up and test. So yeah, that's a great solution if you're running into that issue of people only using Windows. As for closing remarks, I just want to say thank you for Sudo and Hux for having me here. And yeah, it was a pleasure talking to you guys, seeing all the memes in the chat. So yeah, always a pleasure to be here.
Always a pleasure to have you on. It was absolutely lovely. And also, it's always a pleasure to drag Hux back for one of these, who's getting increasingly busy, and I'm increasingly taking up his time with these community calls. I'm never going to stop doing that, guys.
Wouldn't miss it, wouldn't miss it for anything else, So super happy to be here. And yeah, was super great to have you on, Super Maya. I really especially loved your insights about, the Brazilian status quo and how things going on there, because I think what's really important for everyone to keep in mind that we are a global society with many different sort of contexts and needs and actualities. And actually, why I think shilling the Nym VPN again, why it's the greatest tool ever, because it gives access for anyone to a certain level of privacy, which is regardless of where you are, what you're in. If you're worried about this or that, or if this happening or that, this is going to give you such an advanced level of privacy that's gonna improve your life for the better, regardless of your current context. So that's why I'm super excited that we're all here and talking about this. Thanks for the opportunity, Sudo. Thank you guys for coming and for the memes and the comments. We almost have a rock band now, no? Super, you can be the singer, I can be the drummer. What else we need? Like a guitarist, we need definitely, no?
All right. With all of that said, happy Carnival days from Rocio, which I second. Happy Carnivals days for everyone. And of course, I'm not going to forget about the POAP. Would never forget about the POAP. So as always, for these community calls, it's becoming a tradition to give you guys a POAP to commemorate the fact that you've been here with us. So wait a second, I forgot the. Oh yeah, there it is. Okay.
And
so the.
Sorry, before that, also very happy Chinese New Year for everyone who's celebrating that.
Yes, that too. Thanks. Thank you. I shared in the chat. Hopefully, it showed up both on Twitch and on YouTube. What the secret phrase is for today. So it's give me Nym VPN. Make sure to copy the exact spelling with capitalization and whatnot. The link is also there. Click it. Enter the secret phrase, and then you shall have your POAP. And you shall also have the end of the week, which you shall enjoy. And see you all next Thursday. Remember, community calls are weekly again, and they happen on Thursdays and not Fridays. But all of that said, big thanks to all the questions, or all the community members who asked questions. Big thanks for Hux and Super Maya for showing up. And this is Sudo signing out. Bye, everybody.
Have a nice weekend, everyone. See you soon. Ciao.